Kanye Omari West was born June 8th, 1977, in a small suburb right outside Atlanta.
He was born after many torturous hours of natural childbirth that eventually ended in a cesarean. Guy had a big head.
Kanye is an only child.
His name was taken from a book of African names.
Kanye means the only one. The name that we gave him was very appropriate. He is the only one.
When Kanye was born, I was working at Morris Brown College, and I was chair of the English department.
Ray was working as a photographer at that time.
He was an award-winning photojournalist and just a brilliant photographer. From the time Kanye was born, his dad was really actively involved.
I was the one taking care of my son initially because his mother went back to work.
He got up in the middle of the night and he couldn't really feed him because I breastfed. But as far as changing diapers and that kind of thing, no problem. He never was one of those kinds of dads who was hands off.
We were very close. Very close. Kanye always was quite a character. Lots of energy, quick, endearing smile. You clearly could see a certain confidence with himself.
He wasn't the greatest at playing with others because he always had to be the leader. He always wanted things to go his way.
He always seemed to have a mind of his own.
You could definitely see part of his dad and part of his mom in him.
They always had strong opinions and strong views on everything.
We grew up very aware of racism in this country, and I was even arrested at the tender age of 6 for sitting in, demonstrating at a lunch counter in Oklahoma City.
I came from a military family. By the time I got to college, I joined the Black Panther Party.
We say power to the people!
The political activity was all about making sure that whatever was not just became just.
Kanye's mom and dad played a huge role in molding Kanye.
Kanye's dad, I think, is a great person, but we just didn't have the kind of personalities that would mesh for the long haul.
I had ideas about things I wanted to do and wanted to accomplish. I lost touch with what was important.
Kanye's father and I separated when he was only 11 months, and at 3 years old, we divorced.
His mother stayed in the area for a while, and then she took a position at Chicago State.
We packed everything up, and then I got Kanye, and the two of us drove from Atlanta to Chicago.
My Uncle Ray, his father, remained in Atlanta.
Kanye had regular contact with his father by telephone frequently, and he began to go stay with his father every summer.
She'd put him on a plane, and I'd gather him at the airport. I'm not sure how tough it was for her. I know it was very tough for me.
Kanye and I moved to the south side of Chicago. He went to school out of the neighborhood. It was a magnet school, humanities and the arts.
Only those that applied and were accepted were actually at that school.
He was always into any type of art. He just loved to create.
He was really very much gifted in visual arts. And even at 3 years old, he could draw better than most kids, 2 or 3 times his age.
Initially, he wanted to design sneakers, and he wanted to do animation. My little case of art supplies was like a treasure chest for him. To get into that and just to draw for hours. He started writing around his mother, because his mother's the wordsmith.
First, he'd write things in his mind. And then when he got to the point where he could actually physically put the pen to the paper, he did a few poems as well.
It was his own interpretation of reality.
When Kanye was 10 years old, We spent 1 year in the People's Republic of China. Our university had an exchange arrangement with Nanjing University.
His mother said to me, here's his chance to experience other cultures.
He took private art lessons there. He took Tai Chi there. He mingled with people from all cultures. He traveled a lot.
Kanye's mom wanted him to be well-rounded as a child and experience different things.
From the time we hit China till the time we left, we were both stared at. But Kanye was really stared at all the time. These people had really not seen a black kid.
People would want to see him breakdance.
They'd look at Kanye and say, breakdance, breakdance, breakdance. And he just decided to make it a win-win. Okay, I'll breakdance for you, you pay me.
Kanye always knew that he had a gift, and everybody should look at him and everybody should see what he's doing.
We came back the end of August in 1988. It was 5th grade.
Kanye walked into my classroom and walked up to me and told me that he wanted to be on a talent show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Quadro Posse.
The name of the group was the Quadro Posse. Stepping was the craze at the time. So he and 3 other friends got together.
He was like flipping people over and sweep your leg, they jump up and all that.
And at the end, it was pandemonium.
They won the talent show. He's always been a ham, not a shy bone in his body.
Music was the medium of communication of this time for young African Americans. Hip-hop was getting strong.
Kanye was about 12 years old when he got his first keyboard. He immediately started producing with it.
Kanye sat down and he told us he wanted to be a music producer / rapper.
A lot of times you would see him off to himself in his own world sometimes, trying to learn something new or trying to create something.
I'm deaf and I'm fresh and I'm on the rest. Nothing less can come from West. Get out there, Kanye.
He was focused. When I say focused, I mean focused.
The next summer is when he said that I want to stay here in Chicago this summer.
I think it was a surprise to Ray.
And it was more important to him to stay in Chicago and work on his music.
You know how kids get their own agenda, and Kanye's clearly was music. Kanye spent the summers with his father until he was 15 years old, and then just decided he would devote full-time every minute that he had to producing music.
He was really focused on making music and perfecting his craft, and I didn't see him much after that point.
Kanye went to Polaris High School.
It's definitely like a kind of college preppy high school.
Yeah, he was like one of those kids that was a good student, but he didn't apply himself to be a great student. What kept him in school was gym, lunch, and art.
Kanye was a very talented artist, and he loved competition, and so he entered many competitions. He won twice for the Axel Award, sponsored by the NAACP.
He did some paintings, some drawings that were astounding. He was expressing himself in art.
However, he was focused on making music.
He had a studio set up in his room.
With the keyboard and speakers.
A couple thousands of records just lined up against the wall, a bed, a couple crates.
The room was packed with his equipment. There was just enough room left for his bed.
He was a person that just always liked good music. We're listening to like Counting Crows, Portishead, Natalie Imbruglia.
He's trying to get inspiration from wherever he can get it from.
He actually started putting beats together and experimenting with different types of music and recording.
After a while, he started selling his products.
$50 a beat. maybe sometimes 100, and then maybe if he's lucky, 250.
The word around town was that you can get this little high school dude who had beats for $50, $100.
When I met Kanye, he was producing a group called State of Mind.
He realized that, you know, his talent was maybe in producing as much, if not more so, than in rapping.
He started telling them how to rap, telling them how to, you know, have a swagger.
He was a phenomenal producer.
But Kanye needed somebody to take him to the next step. And that's when No ID came along.
No ID say
At that time, No ID was like the king of production in Chicago. And he was doing Common and Syndicate and all these groups.
He provided Chicago with the first sound that was like progressive hip-hop and soulful.
No ID is the son of very good friends of mine. So when Kanye learned that, he went crazy. Oh my God, Mom, I want to meet No ID.
When I met Kanye, he really didn't have any experience with making music on a real level. He just had a computer and a vision that he wanted to be a star.
Kanye sleeping out in No ID's driveway, waiting for him to come home.
We was like pests, 15, 16 years old, trying to hang around a grown man.
If he didn't even have the drive that he had, I probably wouldn't have helped him as much, but he wouldn't ever take no.
Kanye's interaction with No ID definitely stepped his game up as a producer.
No ID taught Kanye a lot. He taught him a lot as far as making beats, as far as programming and all that.
But Kanye wanted to be a rapper.
He knew a lot of other people that rapped, so he started a group called the Go-Getters.
Kanye West, he is them guys. Aerostar, he is them guys.
It was Aerostar,
really dope,
Timmy G, GLC,
and Kanye West.
87 niggas, them is them guys.
Go-Getters. Young, ambitious guys trying to have something.
He started going out performing at hip-hop clubs. He would say, Mom, I gotta go because they're gonna have these talent scouts. I would go along because here he is, not yet 18.
The Dragon Room was our best spot. We would go there on Sunday nights.
The Go-Getters opened up for me at a couple shows at Banana Joe's. These guys were on stage and they were rapping their heart out, singing their hearts out, doing the moves, everything.
We thought we was on top of the world.
Kanye graduated from high school in 1995.
Kanye went to the American Academy of Arts.
As it turns out, he didn't want art, so he transferred.
After that, he went to Chicago State because his mom was the professor there.
Kanye's spent all of his time in the music studio.
He liked this music class. That's the only class that he cared about, nothing else. And we'd be up to like 6 in the morning working on music. This is what we want to do.
Kanye kept hustling. Whatever he could do to keep his dream going. John Monopoly was the hot new guy on the party scene. So Kanye, being a businessman, said, hey, why don't you manage me?
I was managing his rap group for him and doing parties and concerts, and we were trying to get our thing popping. So we decided to invest some money into this record.
A song called Oh, Oh.
So they hit us off with the OOO joint, and they're like, we need you to like bang this in the clubs and bang it on the radio and just blow it up.
We had like flyers and picket signs. Like we had picket signs outside of the radio station, like play the Go-Getters.
People were like, oh my God, they're picketing WGCI. Like there was no way that the station was gonna put this song in the rotation because there was so much music from everybody that was like really hot at the time.
Even though it wasn't on the playlist, they went against their boss like, we have to do this.
So I'd hit the song like, okay, tonight's Chicago Home Jam is Kanye West and the Go-Getters. Oh, 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 oh.
We had the song of the summer for the Midwest on WGCI.
It was big working the record and then having the record break through because from Chicago at the time, there weren't that many artists that were getting spins.
So, like, you know, Kanye built up his buzz.
But No ID exposed Kanye to the industry.
The first major beat that he did was on Jermaine Dupri, Life in 1472.
Jermaine Dupri was huge at this time.
I was working on my album. I had Mace, I had a little bit of everybody, Jay-Z, everybody, Lil' Kim, Slick Rick, Snoop, Bone Thugs and Harmony. He made a beat.
This single was called Turn It Out.
Thick and thin from beginning to the end. Never do I lose. All I do is win.
When he sold his first beat to Jermaine Dupri, and he got $5,000, and he was living with his mama. We wasn't used to having no money. I was like, you got $5,000.
Kanye with Jermaine Dupri, it was just amazing, man.
Nobody kind of suspected it. Nobody kind of saw it coming. Kanye had his first major placement.
Shot-Town made it down here, boy. Somebody from the crib made it down here, boy.
Selling that beat led to a meeting with Columbia. He was really proud.
He believed so much that he was going to get a record deal. He dropped out of school. No fallback plan.
His mother being a professor, she was devastated for him to drop out of school.
He had the Muhammad Ali mentality that I'm the greatest.
Kanye was invited to go to New York.
He gets flown out to Columbia Records. He meets with the executive, Michael Malden.
We had the deal. Everything was ready to go.
But he went in there and acted like, oh, I'm going to be better than Jermaine Dupri. I'm going to sell more records than he would ever sell. And they wasn't ready for that.
The person that he was talking about was Michael's son, and he didn't know it.
Michael Malden was sitting there like, oh, this dude is talking about my son.
They gave him the 3 words. We'll call you.
Kanye pulled up in a limousine and rode away in a taxi.
He was just feeling like, damn, what did I do?
Kanye never heard back from Columbia after that.
Kanye thought he was going to go out to New York and, you know, come back being a big rap star, but it didn't work out.
After Columbia Records didn't sign him, he came back to Chicago.
He was like disappointed and hurt when it didn't go through for him. Being real close to a dream and it shot us apart.
I remember him saying, man, what's wrong? I said, you think you're there? It's not there yet. At that point, he knew that he had to consider drastic measures.
He wasn't going to lay around the house. He got after his dream. You didn't even see Kanye in Chicago. He didn't even come to clubs no more.
Kanye didn't go to parties. All he did was sit in his room making beats.
He began to really step it up.
Ain't taking no showers, no haircut, no new shoes, nothing. He's just in front of that keyboard every day.
He never stopped working.
By this time, he had moved his tracks up to between 500 and 1,500 a track.
He's just producing here and there for people who've gotten small deals.
He was doing a lot of ghost production, meaning you do the beat, but you give it to a big name producer, and he puts out the beats.
Other people was taking the credit for the things he was doing.
It just felt a little frustrating.
We were just sick and tired of things not working in Chicago.
He's out here in the suburbs of Chicago. All the rap acts in L.A. or New York. He wanted to get his music out there more, so he decided to move to Newark, New Jersey. His first apartment was about 20 minutes away from New York.
We rented the apartment sight unseen.
He left everything behind and just started off fresh.
That was the biggest risk he ever took, but that was the best thing for him to do.
He paid a couple months' rent and set up shop and just got to hustling. Non-stop, day in, day out.
In that first month, he sold maybe like 30 beats.
Hip-hop. At the time, hip-hop and I were working at Rockefeller Records. We were the heads of the A&R department there. And we were trying to find more of a sound.
We were trying to create the next hip-hop Motown.
Our aim was to have 2 to 3 producers in our whole company to really start the movement.
Kanye was like one of the first ones that popped up.
Official coming from the QB.
Hip Hop and G, they brought them in and they played all the songs and talked to him, and they found out that this guy is really a genius.
The dream genius.
They're starting to shop his music inside the Rockefeller system.
He sold beats to like Beanie Siegel. He did The Truth.
Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you. I bring the truth.
Once he was in the inner circle, coming by every day, playing joints every day, had access to the studio 24/7, he was in.
He would just start coming around and getting familiar with the other artists, and people, came to know that he had just great beats.
One day, Kanye's like, yo, I got these beats. I'm gonna come by the studio and give you the beats. So when he came by, Jay happened to be there.
I was working on a Blueprint album at that time.
Jay-Z was already, this megastar, and he was starting to make the transition to icon status.
Yeah, like, yo, what's up, man? You got some beats? He was like, yeah, I got some beats. And he played him the beat tape.
I'm like, that's hot, that's hot, that's hot. The music was so powerful for me. I was so inspired.
And Jay started recording, like, right there on the spot.
Kanye produced 6 joints on the Blueprint album.
That was the bulk of the Blueprint right there. It's the blueprint for the blueprint.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 8th wonder of the world.
The Blueprint was like the most critical acclaimed album in 2001.
H to the Izzo was the biggest song of that album.
When that H to the Izzo joint hit and the 6 songs that he did on the Blueprint album, he really blew.
H to the Izzo, B to the Izzy. That's the anthem. Get your damn hands up.
When you get the approval from Jay-Z, it's just like, check, on top of the world.
You got the best rapper alive saying, you're dope. You're good from there.
And the Blueprint was such a classic album, it definitely validated him on a lot of levels.
At the time, like, hip-hop didn't have, like, that soul in it. And he gave, musically, hip-hop a certain soul that was missing.
Everybody in the hip-hop industry were definitely looking towards Kanye and seeing what else he had in the stash.
I was like, wow, this cat is, he's serious. Whoever this dude is, he got some heat.
So, he was in demand then.
Every major artist in urban music was requesting music from Kanye.
Yeah.
But having production on the Blueprint for Jay-Z was just part of Kanye's blueprint in terms of where he was trying to go as an artist.
He felt he had proven himself as a producer and that he could go as far as he wanted to.
Kanye wanted to be a rapper. He always said, I make beats to rap.
But nobody respected him as a rapper, so he had to go out there and get that respect.
Kanye would take his demo around and say, I did the Blueprint, but I'm a rapper.
He going to these labels trying to get on.
Every label, A to Z, Arista to Zombo.
He would really be performing like he was on stage.
Went into L.A. Reid's office and jumped on the desk.
We went to like 5 meetings where he jumped on tables. I was sitting there looking like, yo, my son is crazy.
He not just gonna sell you a beat, he gonna sell you himself.
We at war.
Jesus Walk was on his original demo.
God, show me the way because the devil's trying to break me down.
Every A&R was, you can't rap about Jesus. You can't have that, in your song. Nobody wants to hear that.
So here go my single, dog. Radio needs this. They said you can rap about anything except for Jesus.
It was too edgy. The industry is afraid of anything that breaks the conformity of how things flow.
People heard Jesus Walks, as is, and passed on signing him. Pass, blatantly pass.
Gun, sex, lies, videotape. But if I talk about God, my record won't get played, huh?
I can't say we were eager to sign him.
People had him in a box as just being a producer.
I didn't pay attention to him rapping. I didn't think that he was
built to be a rapper. They was built to be a producer.
We just wanted some hot beats at the time, be honest with you.
They're like, stick to making beats. Don't nobody want to hear you rap. We just want your beats.
Man, he got a lot of rejection slips.
That was a wake-up call for him.
But Kanye was determined to prove everyone wrong.
We shine because they hate us.
He's real passionate about being who he wanted to be and becoming what he wanted to become.
He would always say, people don't get it, they don't understand. They gonna really regret it.
Kanye wanted to be a rapper. Every second he got, he would play his demo.
But nobody wanted to sign him. Nobody thought that he actually was going to make it.
He just heard so much that all he was a great producer and that he couldn't do anything else.
The only person that really stepped to the plate was 3H.
I was like a low-level A&R at Capitol. So he walks in, you know, had his total swagger already. I'm 19, I'm ambitious, I'll listen to anything at the time.
3H got it immediately. He was like, I love it, let's go.
3H said, well, let me take this over to my people at Capitol. I'm sure I can get it done.
I played these songs in these A&R meetings over and over.
My plaques is better than yours. My tracks is better than yours.
Capitol was really excited about him.
Kanye could sing, he could rap, he could make beats, he could do any style of record. We were ready to rock. Him and I really started having these great creative talks. He really felt someone saw what he saw, and it was empowering Kanye as an artist.
He was very excited.
I remember him saying, I got a deal from Capitol on the table. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get signed. It's gonna happen.
But it didn't happen. In the 11th hour, the head of Urban A&R felt that the producer-rapper thing wasn't a sure shot. And ultimately, the deal got shut down. He was not going to be signed to Capitol.
Oh, man. That was a rough day.
Kanye was real disappointed.
Talk about a knife in the heart, you know?
But Dame Dash was really smart.
When I heard that Capitol reneged on the deal, I finally was like, all right, let's just do it.
So he called me up and said, hey, G, can we get this deal at Rockefeller?
Like, yo, I'm signing him. You need to be over here anyway.
He knew that Kanye was the best producer, and the bottom line was he wasn't finna let all them good beats get away from Rockefeller.
Kanye was signed to Rockefeller August 3rd, 2002.
They signed Kanye, and within a few weeks of that, Jay-Z was on tour. All the Rockefeller artists were on tour, and they were in Chicago.
Right in front of Kanye's hometown, Jay stops the music.
Uh-oh. Kanye. Got some big news to shout. You want to tell me?
When I sign an artist, I give that artist a chain in front of the world.
I want y'all to know that I'm the newest member of the Rockefeller team.
Dame just comes up and put the chain over his neck. And the crowd was going crazy.
I want to show love to all my Chicago out here.
This was one of the happiest moments in Kanye's life.
That was the seal of approval.
When the chain was put on him, he transformed. He became not a producer who rapped, but a rapper who made beats.
He was like, yes, I'm finally finna get the opportunity to express myself how I want to be expressed.
After the deal was made with Rockefeller, Kanye went full-fledged into making the album.
Kanye threw everything he had, everything, his soul, his fiber, into this album.
You want us to ad-lib?
Yeah.
He was always working. Like I say, the first album is your whole life.
But the label didn't seem to have any intent of putting him out.
Kanye didn't fit that mold of Rockefeller. They want you to fit inside this box. You're a gangster or you're a bling-blinger, what are you?
Him being from the suburbs, he doesn't think like the hood first. He thinks like the suburbs.
He went against the grain,
and made his own style of music.
They really did not get it.
Sometimes I sign artists, I don't put them out for years until they're ready.
They may have signed him as a rapper to keep him happy as a producer.
Because I figured he'd make an album with his hot beats, and we could use all my artists.
Kanye wasn't getting, the attention that he wanted.
So he made the money elsewhere selling beats.
He worked with Ludacris,
Alicia Keys, Britney Spears.
Kanye would show up a couple hours early and stay a couple hours late and work on his own album on their studio time.
He did what he could do as far as just getting songs done.
He's working 24/7.
It was literally non-stop.
One night, Kanye was in L.A. working with Beanie Siegel and was just working hard. He was in a session real late.
It was between 2 and 3 a.m., and he was on his way from the studio to the W, which is where he was staying in Westwood. He was driving down Santa Monica.
He fell asleep at the wheel. He was tired, man, lost control, car swerved, and he hit another car.
And had a head-on collision.
Steering wheel hit him like in the jaw.
Blow. Cracked all this, man.
And his jaw was broken in 3 places.
If it would have hit him in the nose, he would have been dead.
He was just barely conscious, and he just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
They put him in the ambulance, and they took him to Cedars-Sinai.
And they was talking like he wasn't gonna make it.
We had a chance just to talk for a moment and to say a brief prayer before he went into surgery.
He had several surgeries.
His face was like way out here. When I walked into that hospital room, I wouldn't have even known my own son had he not said, "Hi, Mom." His face was so swollen.
The doctors, they wired his mouth shut.
I was like, well, that's it as far as rapping. He was barely talking.
I was just thinking to myself, damn, I hope he can still rap the same, and deliver his lyrics the same way he used to.
If he wouldn't have been able to rap again, I think he would have rather been dead.
Kanye was in the hospital for a while, and his face was all messed up. He had to get his jaw rewired.
The accident was like one of those life-changing events.
The dream could have been over that night. Could have died, man.
I think that the accident made Kanye appreciate life, but more so opportunity.
He waited a day and got back to working.
In his hospital bed, he was thinking of beats, thinking of raps, thinking of ways to be successful.
As soon as he gets out of the hospital, he goes check himself up in the W Hotel and had a studio in his hotel room.
He was just working on music, having different artists come through, knocking out joints. It was almost like his album was the nurse that came to visit him in his sick bed.
The second he was able to speak, he recorded Through the Wire.
Yo, G, they can't stop me from rapping, can they? Can they, hot?
Through the Wire is about the car accident.
I spit it through the wire, man.
Every line had real life experience of what he went through.
And he was rapping through the damn wires.
I gladly risk it all right now.
He literally rapped through the wire when his mouth was still wired shut.
He couldn't even open his mouth fully. It was crazy.
It sounded like it hurt when he rapped it. That's how it was to me. I'm like, damn, that's how you know how much this guy wants to be an artist.
Once he knocked out Through the Wire, he was ready to go. He definitely felt like, I'm ready to drop this album.
The label was not ready to move at the speed Kanye was moving.
The label told him that'll never work, that'll never sell.
They still didn't believe, and they weren't ready to jump behind the project.
So he just took his own destiny in his own hands and did everything himself.
There was just a big push from Kanye as well as everybody else around him.
We became like a little baby label.
Don C. and Kanye and John
put together a mixtape. It was called Get Well Soon, and it had Through the Wire, along with various different songs he'd actually produced.
We would go to all the clubs. I would just roll up there with vinyl and a couple of hot girls and just have them go to the DJ and play the record.
Any opportunity that he had to perform places, he would.
Kanye actually would just go to different radio stations in different cities and just promote.
Every station we could get on, every mix show, every local show, every call station, we didn't care where it was.
We kept pushing it, pushing the single.
And Kanye took things a step further.
Kanye put up 40 grand out of his pocket, and we shot a video.
Kanye was a successful producer, so he was able to have the paper to go ahead and fund his own video.
And I think that's when everything changed.
Yo, G, they can't stop me from rapping, can they hot?
The video premiered at Jay-Z's 40/40 Club in New York City.
Monoc had, like, the streets buzzing, the whole street team out promoting this video premiere party.
And I literally sat in front of the club with my 2A.
He went and invited, like, all his press down.
Pretty much, you know, the industry at large were there.
And all, like, the staff of Rockefeller.
When I heard about it, I definitely had to show up. It was almost like it was against me.
The energy in the room was incredible.
Kanye went on one of his little tirades, like, yo, I paid for this myself. The label won't do.
It's a great turnout. And it was all 2 thumbs up with the video.
I drink a boost for breakfast, an insure for dessert. Somebody order pancakes, I just sip the scissor.
Everybody was just like, wow. They was blown away by it.
That right there could drive a sane man berserk.
I was proud of him, you know, because it was something I would have did. And yeah, you know, at the time, no one was listening, so he did what he had to do.
It definitely forced Rockefeller's hand.
I think they all acknowledged that they had a real superstar.
After that, it was like, oh, yeah, we need to, this video need to be seen, and we need to push this album.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
College Dropout was released February 10th, 2004.
The album was incredible, man.
College Dropout was just straight, like, dope.
Oh, she's so excited.
Oh, man, it was outrageous. It was outrageous. It was a groundbreaking, critically acclaimed album from the beginning.
His first week of release, he was certified gold.
After Through the Wire, the other songs that followed, just, it was like a domino effect.
Slow Jams, you know, became an instant #1 record.
Boy, when that Jesus Walk came.
Woo! You know what the Midwest is, young and restless.
The following week, he was certified platinum.
Then the album with multi-platinum. It was a beautiful time.
It was Kanye West Pandemonium. He instantly became the #1 talked about thing in music. Not just hip-hop, but in music.
Kanye was nominated for so many awards.
He really wanted that approval from the people, man. He really wanted those trophies.
But he lost a few awards, and he wasn't so happy about that.
He felt snubbed at the American Music Awards.
Gretchen Wilson got Best New Artist, and he thought he should.
But I knew he was going to win Grammys.
Kanye was nominated for 10 Grammys. He was the face of the Grammys. He was the Grammy boy.
And the Grammy goes to the College Dropout, Kanye West.
Kanye won a Grammy for the Best Rap Album of the Year.
Kanye West.
The Best R&B Song of the Year.
Kanye West.
And the Best Hip Hop Song of the Year. Jesus Walks.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
I know he was overwhelmed, you know what I mean?
He felt like he passed a certain part of the test.
He felt vindicated because a lot of people said that he'd never do it.
He proved them wrong.
Kanye has sort of breathed new life into hip-hop for a whole new generation of people.
Every time I rhyme,
he's got a message in his music that is positive.
Kanye has not only found himself as a rapper and a producer, he has found himself as an artist.
I realized that I've arrived because it took more than a magazine to kill my vibe.
He just proves to the world how much heart he had.
His passion's not a gimmick. It's 100% why he is Kanye West.
What drives Kanye West? Being told what he can't do. Just tell him, you can't do that. And watch him move.
Holla at your boy!
And he couldn't really feed him because I breastfed. But as far as changing diapers and that kind of thing, no problem. He never was one of those kinds of dads who's hands off.
We were very close. Very close. Kanye always was quite a character. Lots of energy, quick, endearing smile. You clearly could see a certain confidence with himself.
He wasn't the greatest at playing with others because he always had to be the leader. He always wanted things to go his way.
He always seemed to have a mind of his own.
You could definitely see part of his dad and part of his mom in him.
They always had strong opinions and strong views on everything.
We grew up very aware of racism in this country, and I was even arrested at the tender age of 6 for sitting in, demonstrating at a lunch counter in Oklahoma City.
I came from a military family. By the time I got to college, I joined the Black Panther Party.
We say power to the people!
The political activity was all about making sure that whatever was not just became just.
Kanye's mom and dad played a huge...
He took private art lessons there. He took Tai Chi there. He mingled with people from all cultures. He traveled a lot.
Kanye's mom wanted him to be well-rounded as a child and experience different things.
From the time we hit China till the time we left, we were both stared at. But Kanye was really stared at all the time. These people had really not seen a black kid.
People would want to see him break dance.
They'd look at Kanye and say, break dance, break dance, break dance. And he just decided to make it a win-win. Okay, I'll break dance for you, you pay me.
Kanye always knew that he had a gift, and everybody should look at him and everybody should see what he's doing.
We came back the end of August in 1988. It was 5th grade.
Kanye walked into my classroom and walked up to me and told me that he wanted to be on a talent show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Quadro.
The name of the group was the Quadro Posse. Stepping was the craze at the time. So he and 3 other friends got together.
He was like flipping people over. Huge role in molding Kanye.
Kanye's dad, I think, is a great person, but we just didn't have the kind of personalities that would mesh for the long haul.
I had ideas about things I wanted to do and wanted to accomplish. I lost touch with what was important.
Kanye's father and I separated when he was only 11 months, and at 3 years old, we divorced.
His mother stayed in the area for a while, and then she took a position at Chicago State.
We packed everything up, and then I got Kanye, and the 2 of us drove from Atlanta to Chicago.
My Uncle Ray, his father, remained in Atlanta.
Kanye had regular contact with his father by telephone frequently, and he began to go stay with his father every summer.
She'd put him on a plane, and I'd gather him at the airport. I'm not sure how tough it was for her. I know it was very tough for me.
Kanye and I moved to the south side of Chicago. He went to school. Kanye Omari West was born June 8th, 1977, in a small suburb right outside Atlanta.
He was born after many torturous hours of natural childbirth that eventually ended in a cesarean. Guy had a big head.
Kanye is an only child.
His name was taken from a book of African names.
Kanye means the only one. The name that we gave him was very appropriate. He is the only one.
When Kanye was born, I was working at Morrisbound College, and I was chair of the English department.
Ray was working as a photographer at that time.
He was an award-winning photojournalist and just a brilliant photographer. From the time Kanye was born, his dad was really actively involved.
I was the one taking care of my son initially because his mother went back to work.
He got up in the middle of the night, out of the neighborhood. It was a magnet school, humanities and the arts.
Only those that applied and were accepted were actually at that school.
He was always into any type of art. He just loved to create.
He was really very much gifted in visual arts. And even at 3 years old, he could draw better than most kids, 2 or 3 times his age.
Initially, he wanted to design sneakers, and he wanted to do animation. My little case of art supplies was like a treasure chest for him. To get into that and just to draw for hours. He started writing around his mother because his mother's the wordsmith.
First, he'd write things in his mind. And then when he got to the point where he could actually physically put the pen to the paper, he did a few poems as well.
It was his own interpretation of reality.
When Kanye was 10 years old, we spent 1 year in the People's Republic of China. Our university had an exchange arrangement with Nanjing University.
His mother said to me, here's his chance to experience other cultures.